And this year will be what that's about. So if you're thinking that Donald Trump is not in your interest, Donald Trump is not the guy for you, then don't vote for him. If uh, keeping illegals out and we spend a lot of money on illegal people every year, and it's unfair. It's unfair to America. It's unfair to Americans. I'm no bleeding heart, but at the same time, I'm not a sucker. And that's one of the reasons I like this president is because he's not a sucker. We've been suckered too long by these college boys who let people just run all over us. Well, those days are over. If you don't believe those days are over, just ask Solomundi. He got blown up. He's walking around. Hey, how'd that raid go on the embassy? Well, boom, dude. Took his car right out. Can you imagine? You're sitting at a stoplight, having a smoke, talking trash, maybe, sipping out of a bottle of Jack Daniels, and all of a sudden, a big flash comes. It's over. Yeah. I'm not a Solomundi fan, if that's what you're asking. No, I thought he should have been taken out a long time ago. But if you had a person like Joe Biden who was in the office, Joe constantly says, "Well, I was for the Bin Laden raid." No, he was against the Bin Laden raid. But he was quizzed the other day by a young man from one of the radio stations, one of the TV stations, and he declared that he was for the Bin Laden raid, when we all know that he said himself, he told the president not to go. We didn't ask Joe for that. Joe volunteered that. He said, "Hey, I told Obama not to go, but he's a brave guy." I just can't find that clip. I wish I could. Let's see if I can play it here. This is one of them where he's saying that he told the president to go when we know he told him to
pull the trigger.
Well, we did. The guy's name was Osama bin Laden.
And didn't you tell President Obama not to go after bin Laden that day?
I didn't.
Well, the truth is, he did say that he told Obama not to go, and Obama went ahead anyway. That's what he said. I didn't say it. I didn't make it up. Joe Biden said that after the raid, when he was praising President Obama for having the guts to do it. Well, it didn't take much guts to do it. Didn't take guts. What it was a PR cover-up. Here we go. Conspiracy theory. Dun, 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 dun. No, actually, it's not a conspiracy theory. Actually, it's the truth. President Obama launched this attack on Muammar Gaddafi. Libya was under siege. They're dropping bombs on Libya. They're bombing Gaddafi's palace. They're bombing his son's palaces. Boom, boom, boom. One son is on the phone back channeling with the CIA as bombs are dropping on his home. Boom. He's like, "What's going on? What happened? What are you guys doing?" I bet you this. Any country, any leader that has the nuclear bomb or nuclear capability, whatever they have, they better never give it up. Do you think for one iota that allied forces, as we like to call them, really U.S. forces, but allied forces, would have gone into Libya with the threat of an atomic bomb going off in the region? Absolutely not. However, Gaddafi, trying to be a good boy, a moment of lucidness cost him his life. A moment of trust cost him his life, because we went in and took him out, and the rest is history. But they killed his grandchildren. His son was on the phone back channeling with the CIA when his palace was blown up, and Gaddafi's grandchildren were killed. And that's a story you can go and look in the Washington Post. I always talk about the Post because they carry this stuff. The Post local news is world news, but the Post carries this stuff. So on the top fold, and I learned about this when I was working in Washington, on the top fold, they had the story of bin Laden being killed, but we knew what bin Laden was. Bin Laden wasn't a player. He was sitting in Western Pakistan just writing meaningless, endless diatribe that no one paid any attention to. He had no juice. Had a lot of women though, man, I tell you. So we knew where Bin Laden was. It was no secret. Christiana Amanpour did an interview, and if you don't believe me, Google it. Christiana Amanpour tells where Bin Laden is. Google it. Comes right up. Boom. They took her off the air for 3 or 4 years. The reason I know is because she was one of my favorite reporters, and she just wasn't on the air anymore after she said that. So we knew where Bin Laden was. It was a PR cover up when they went and got Bin Laden. There's really no reason to, except for divert attention from Gaddafi's grandchildren being blown up in a meaningless coup, in a coup that Hillary Clinton tried to pulled off for her benefactors. You know, she's such a sleaze bag, I tell you. Could you imagine what this country would be if Hillary Clinton were running the country? Could you imagine the quagmire? I don't even want to think about it at this point. That's how frustrating it is for me. But Joe was very clear. He said, "Well, I don't know if I was clear enough on that, but I want to be perfectly clear this time around. I want you to know that um, I and Podesta, we were behind Barack on this deal."
Only two people who were definitive and were absolutely certain. Leon Panetta said go, and Bob Gates, who's already publicly said this, said don't go. So as we walked out of the room and walked upstairs, I told him my opinion, that I thought he should go, but follow his own instincts.
The comments could have political implications for both him and Hillary Clinton. Biden, who has been rumored to run for president, told House Democrats that he warned against the decision, according to the New York Times in 2012. His Tuesday comments also contradict Clinton, who said she pledged her support for the raid, though Biden made no mention of it, citing only then CIA Director Leon Panetta as the only one who said to do the mission.
Wow. So who's lying here? Hillary Clinton? Joe Biden? Barack Obama? Our lying ears. Because I've heard Joe talk about how he did not support the raid on Bin Laden. I've heard him talk about it. If you guys are wondering what's wrong with my voice, I got a little sinus thing going on here and have had for the last few days, which is one of the reasons I haven't really bothered to come on the air because I sound so terrible. God, it was horrible, 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 horrible. But, do what you have to do. So given, what's going on with the killing of Soleimani, I think he should have been taken out a long time ago. There's no reason for this guy to be walking around. He was POTUS was correct. I think he stopped a guy who was clearly a bad actor. Bad actor. Kellyanne, the president's advisor, Kellyanne tickled me. She had this to say, and I have to give her some heaps. That she holds her own. She does not uh, take a back seat to these people who try to shut her up and shut her down. And Kellyanne Conway, my girl, here she is talking about the president should be declared a hero, not a villain. Here we go.
You prove to a Congress, you think that they'll be satisfied? They sound like they're defending Soleimani and attacking this president, and that's on them. I'm a little tired of the hero worship of whoever the president has taken out, or whoever. I mean, what happened when he took out al-Baghdadi? I don't like the way he had his press conference. Who the hell cares already? Is the guy dead or is he not? Is he a coward who blew himself up as we were advancing on him and killing his own children? Or was he not? And then people don't like the way Conan was treated, the dog was treated. I mean, the president, we got over a long time ago appeasing his critics. He's the commander in chief, and he did what a responsible, strong, not weak commander in chief does when faced with the opportunity to take out one of the, if not the world's most wanted terrorists.
Wow, he took him out, did not play around. Took the guy right out, said, boom. You're gone. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you, dude. Trump. Trump's going to go down as one of the better presidents we've had, especially when it comes to foreign policy, especially when it comes to domestic policy. I know people don't want to hear that. I know people don't want to think that, but I think the facts will speak for themselves. You know, the president is a stand-up guy, has been for the American people. And to me, that's what counts. I'm not concerned about how people talk or how they think about the president, what he has to say, and he's uncouth. I don't care about him being uncouth. See, he needs to say what he needs to say. He needs to say it in a certain way. He needs to make people perk up and get involved. All this PC, all this nicey. The world's not nice. You know, one of my good friends, Cully Stimson, he was on television the other day, and he was talking about the Soleimani killing, and this is what he had to say. Listen, here we go.
Go back. Defense has said this is a game changer. Go back. The Secretary of Defense has said this is a game changer. Go back to Nikki Haley's speech when she was Secretary of State a few years ago.
See, that's the reality. See, Nikki Haley said this is a game changer. You have the Secretary of Defense on right now, Mark Asper. He admits that there are some tensions in Iran. So what? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. See, the Iraqi they voted to remove U.S. troops, and that vote was non-binding. As the president said, the president said, we will put sanctions on Iraq and shut the country down. I love it. Let's play this other clip that Cully said that he's talking about POTUS
The
being
president, I
correct to
think, was
stop the
prudent
war.
to come out and say, look, I'm not here to start a war. I'm here to prevent a war, but I'm serious. The question I would ask the people who are against this is, how many American troops' lives are worth it to you? Are you willing to get 500 more, 600 more, 1,000 more people killed through these proxies? In taking him out, there's no perfect answer here. You don't know whether taking this out is going to inflame things for a short period of time and then go back to normal, or whether it's going to escalate into something more. It's like the stock market. Don't look at one day of stock, look at 2-year, 3-year spread.
That's exactly right. We can't look at today. We have to look at what's going to happen a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. How many American lives will be saved? These people have taken American lives with impunity, and there's no repercussions. They killed a sitting ambassador. Chris Stevens was an active ambassador in Libya. He was taken out, beaten, raped with a pipe, supposedly. I mean, he was brutalized beyond belief, and he begged Obama and Hillary Clinton not to send him and his partner to Libya. And Barack said, we're going to set a precedent. We're going to have a homosexual ambassador in a Muslim country. Because see, Barack Obama is a Muslim. And I've often talked about his sexual leanings, so it's no history, no surprises there. But I can tell you, the way this man died was horrible, and there were no repercussions for raiding the embassy or attacking the guys at the consulate where they, filmed a movie and made a movie, 13 hours. And these guys fought off just huge numbers of Muslims that were trying to get in the compound and finish killing and pulling apart these Americans. You've seen pictures of how they treated Americans, how they did in Mogadishu, where they hacked them in pieces and pulled them down streets, and they did the same thing in Iraq and Iran, just in Afghanistan, just savages. Why are we dealing with these people? Why are we there defending these people? I don't understand it. but I want us to get out, and I'm glad that Soleimani was killed. Soleimani was responsible for hundreds of U.S. troops' deaths, hundreds, with the super IEDs and all those things. And we have too many people today who are talking about war, who are talking about military action, as if they have any history, as if they know what the hell they're talking about. They certainly don't. It's like it's kind of like these sportscasters and these women who do NFL football. They don't know anything about football. They're just talking. They're just talking. They haven't been on the field. They haven't caught a pass. They haven't thrown a pass. They haven't thrown a block. They haven't ran up in between the lines. They're just talking. So it's like these people that you hear you talking about war, talking about consequences. If you look at CNN, MSNBC, which is heavily staffed with policy wonk types who've never served in the military, nor have any interest in serving in the military. We're going to suffer repercussions. Oh, the repercussions for killing Soleimani will be horrific. How do they know this? They don't. I mean, we've had one attack. We had 9/11. Have we had any major attacks since 9/11 on our soil? Don't you think we should have, given all the killing of the tens of thousands of Muslims in Afghanistan, in Iraq? Don't you think we should have had some people coming here and just going to a basketball game and just blowing themselves up, or a football game and just blowing themselves up, or a tailgate party and just boom? Those are the things I looked at, coming from areas where we've had real terrorists, like when we were in London. The IRA in the 80s, the IRA was very active, and the IRA would put bombs in wastebaskets on the street. They would put bombs in mailboxes on street corners. So you drop a bomb in the mailbox, right, and it explodes, and all of the fragments, all of the metal is flying through the air, killing innocent people. Now that's terror, baby. You walking down the street and a wastebasket blows up. Boom, that's terror. So when you went to London from like the mid 80s through like the middle 2000s, you couldn't find wastebaskets or mailboxes on the street. Now there are mailboxes and basket and wastebaskets on the street. But it's the truth. I remember being in London with my young daughter, and she was like, where are the wastebaskets? And I explained to her that they had wastebaskets inside, not on the streets, because they didn't want to create a dirty environment. I didn't want to scare her with the truth that they didn't have these things on the street because they hid bombs. Yep. So, man, I tell you, it's amazing what we don't do, what we don't talk about, But here, this new year, we get it kicked off with the president just blowing up Iran's number one general. And they try to act like that the Iraqi people are upset that this man was blown up. They really weren't. And so what they do is they go out and they go to each house and they say, get out and march and get out and show your support of the general, or we'll lock you up. So the people get out and they march up and down the street, chanting whatever they want them to chant, so they can go home and get some rest. But you remember, Iran was the first country to respond to Barack Obama's request that there be an Arab Spring, and he would not help them. He would not help them. I wish it were different, but that's your president, Barack Obama. No guts, Obama. So I'm just saying. Pelosi. I love Pelosi. Pelosi said, wait a minute, we have to hurry up and pass the Obamacare law so we can find out what's in it. And then she turns around and she says, "Wait a minute. We have to impeach the president because we need to try to get him out of office." So what's she going to do? So now she has the impeachment articles and she hasn't given them to the Senate. So we really technically don't have an impeachment because the articles, excuse me, the articles of impeachment haven't been presented to the Senate. Hello. We don't know what she's going to do because she doesn't know what she's going to do. So when is Pelosi? So when is Pelosi going to get serious about the impeachment? The impeachment we know is a hoax. We know the charges are bogus. So what's our next step? Where do we go from here? That's what I want to know. Where do we go from here? I'm looking at Pelosi. I'm thinking about Pelosi, and I know that Miss Pelosi is whack at best. Nancy will not be Speaker of the House come 2021. That's just the way it is. She's going to lose. She's going to be taken out. Al Sharpton. Wow. Let's see here. We want to play this. I want to play Al Sharpton. Let's play Al real quick. Here we go. Here we go.
The reason they're so offended is it's exposing all of them that they would take this shameless con man over the principles that they're preaching in the holy season. As we celebrate Jesus, they would sell Jesus out if they felt they could get something from it, is the inference he's saying from his editorial. And that's sad on many levels.
Here you have Al Sharpton, who some people refer to as Al Charlatan. I didn't refer to him as Al Charlatan, but some people refer to him as Al Charlatan. And he's calling the president of the United States a con man. This is a guy who he supported 110%. Here's a man who funded Al Sharpton's group, the National Action Network. He funded it. He gave him the startup money for it. Yeah, I'm just telling you. I'm just saying. He called the president a con man during the holiday season. Can you tell me if Reverend Al has a church? I can tell you he doesn't. Do you want to go to Al Sharpton's church and hear a sermon? You can't because he doesn't have one. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But it's the season that we're in, and it's a season that we've just finished. And I am glad that Christmas is over. The new year is here. We're getting ready to break down doors. We're getting ready to turn the vote around. We're getting ready to make things happen for the betterment of this country, for the betterment of all Americans. See, that's my concern. I'm a nationalist. I believe in a fair opportunity for all Americans. And by the way, that includes white men. I think white men are probably the most discriminated group of people we have in this country right now, the most hated group. And that's sad. It's really sad. I don't know about you all, but the I saw Rick, what's his name? Uh, uh, Rick Gervais. That boy, he was rough. He cut into a lot of people. He cut into a lot of people, and then when he was at the Golden Globes, and then people came back and they said, "Well, the guy was rude. He was crude. He was embarrassing." And he responded this way in a tweet. He said, "How the f can teasing huge corporations and the richest, most privileged people in the world be considered right wing?" Hello. So his critics were insufferable. They were just incensed that he could make fun of these people. I love it. I wanted to share a quote with you that one of my friends shared with me, and I hadn't thought about in a while. But General Patton said that politicians were the lowest form of life, and liberal Democrats were the lowest form of politicians. I think that's the quote. I think that's the quote. I hadn't thought about it. Like I said, I hadn't thought about it in a while. But it's so appropriate because yeah, here we go. Let me look at it. Yeah, here we go. It says politicians are the lowest form of life on earth, and liberal Democrats are the lowest form of politicians. Yeah, I had it right. But it's appropriate. It's so apropos, as we should say. And so I didn't say this. We're talking about General Patton, the man. I love it. And I've often said that all the time that, I have never supported liberal Democrats. Never. I just, it's never made a lot of sense to me. Now, Piers Morgan, commenting on Ricky Gervais's delivery. He said, new column, Ricky Gervais delivered a glorious kick in the globes to Hollywood's woke virtue signaling hypocrites and exposed them as a bunch of shameless, two-faced charlatans. Whew, man, that is cold. That's cold. That was in the Daily Mail. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this and I'm laughing because it is too funny. It's too funny. And people don't want to really understand it. They don't want to accept it. But these people are what they are and who they are. And they're not good people. They're not good people. These are people who ride around their private jets and, they're too good to take public transport. They're too good to ride with the poor masses and, 300 seat planes. They ride around in 20-seat aircraft. So, but, he's getting busted out. Now, um, Piers Morgan, he wrote that he said, "We're saving the planet" was the proud collective message spoken by multi-millionaire actors and actresses who'd flown to Los Angeles in their private jets and had been driven to the Beverly Hilton Hotel in stretch limousines. Who cares about such massive gas guzzling carbon footprints when they're making the ultimate sacrifice of swapping their steaks for a vibrant, chilled, golden beet soup or king oyster mushroom scallops, riscotto, and a vegan opera dome dessert? And Pierce goes on to say, but these selfless do-gooders left 3 hours later feeling abused, insulted, broken, and shell-shocked thanks to a host who couldn't give a damn about their hurt feelings. They can't say they weren't warned. Man, I love Pierce, but I never watched him much when he's on TV, but I read him a lot in his post TV era. He goes on to say it's a room full of the biggest virtue signalers and hypocrites in the world. Rick Gervais said in a pre-interview with Spectacular Magazine. So I've got to go after that. And he was, Leonardo DiCaprio. He went after poor Leo. I mean, Leonardo is Leonardo. He's worked hard to get where he is, and he laughed. I mean, he was the target of the biggest jokes, and he just laughed. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Quentin Tarantino. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but the movie's excellent. Tarantino was Tarantino, and we just had a great time watching it. And I've watched it a couple of times since then. But DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end of his date, was too old for him. As the camera panned to a clearly embarrassed DiCaprio, ruthless Jervis uh, stuck the boot in a little further. He said, even Prince Andrew was like, "Come on, Leo, mate, you're nearly 50, son." So he's Prince Andrew is in a lot of trouble because of his uh, pictures with Weinstein, not Weinstein, the guy who got killed. Oh man, I can't remember. Oh God, they just looked at his photos yesterday, his autopsies. What's that guy's name? Anyway, you guys know who I'm talking about. The guy who got killed in jail. Oh man. So anyway, it's it's good. It's all good. It's all good. I laugh so hard. It's too funny. Too funny. Yeah, I'm trying to think of that guy who got killed in jail. What was his name? Don't you guys know? Here we are. It's about halfway through the show, and I'm gonna print off this little clip here. Printer's ready. Nope, printer's not ready. Let's see here. Let's see here. Tidbit of information. Okay, here we go. All devices. Oh boy, we got a whole bunch of stuff messed up here. Cancel all these documents. See, because when you have things that you're trying to print and you're deleting, you know how it is. You get hung up, man. They get hung up. But look, what was that guy's name who got killed in jail? Guy got killed. What was his name? His name is shoot. Killed. Was it Jeffrey somebody? Killed in jail. Let's see here. That's and I can't find it. I can't find it. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Wow, how quickly we forget, huh? Apparent suicide, death. Well, yesterday they were saying that they didn't think that he committed suicide. But there's been a doctor who's been talking about this for quite a while. He said that the strangulation marks on his neck weren't that of someone who'd hung themselves, but from strangulation. So a lot of people are in trouble. A lot of people in trouble. And I know that I would be in trouble if I had left my post. They said Epstein, it's not real. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when this all shakes out because his estate is being sued by several of these women because they want to be paid for their pain and suffering, and I don't blame them. Hmm. They say dating apps need women, advertisers need diversity, artificial intelligence companies offer help, fake people, fake people. How about that? Gives it claims and lobby like an autonomy and Trump's rare 67% of claims. Wow. Are false and lacking evidence. Let's see. Okay. Ooh. Okay, here we go. McConnell says he's ready to proceed with the impeachment trial uh, with no deal on witnesses. He said, let's get it on. Let's do it. But Nancy Pelosi is still trying to dictate to the Senate what the Senate's going to do. Has she lost her mind? She's the Speaker of the House. She's not the leader of the Senate. She has no juice over there. So McConnell says, hey, I'm ready to go with no agreement with Democrats on witnesses. Uh, so Nancy Pelosi, who's Speaker of the House, she faced increasing pressure from her members to send the articles of impeachment to the Senate, including uh, a number of her own party members to allow the trial to proceed. But Pelosi has held on to the documents as Democrats seek guarantees about the scope of a trial, including witnesses. Who cares? She can request all she wants. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. So early Thursday or Tuesday, Trump highlighted objections to the prospect of the testimony from former national security advisors John Bolton, as Bolton's announcement he was prepared to appear at trial, continued to roil on Capitol Hill. But if liberals think for one iota that John Bolton is going to give them anything that they can use against Donald Trump, they're wrong. I don't care what Trump and Bolton were beefing about. He's not going to give them anything. John Bolton's not going to give him anything. President's going to speak a little bit later too. I hope we're on the air when the president speaks. I'll play it through the system here. The crux of the Democrats' case is the allegation that Trump tried to leverage a White House meeting and military aid sought by the Ukraine to combat Russian military aggression. Not true. And to pressure Ukrainian President Zelensky to launch an investigation of former President Joe Biden and his son Hunter, as well as a probe of an unfounded theory that Kiev conspired with Democrats to interfere in the 2016 election, both of which are true. But Biden and Hunter, but certainly Hunter Biden was already under investigation for his involvement with Burisma. And we were looking at Kiev as a player in the 2016 election. Had nothing to do with Trump. Had nothing to do with Trump. This all happened on Obama's watch. And everybody forgets that all of this Russian collusion, Russian participation came on John Brennan and Clapper's watch. John Brennan and Clapper's watch. Why does that just get past everybody that Obama was responsible for allowing our elections to be hacked, not Donald Trump? But see, the hate Trump syndrome is so heavy. The hate Trump syndrome is so crazy that these people can't see past the front of their nose. So Bolton's willingness to testify in Trump's impeachment trial wraps up the pressure on Senate Republicans? No, it doesn't. Because Trump could claim executive privilege and John can't do anything. Nothing. But say, well, I was willing to come testify, but the president told me I couldn't. Amazing. So McConnell says publicly that the GOP has the votes to move forward, and he's going to do that. And the impeachment will go forward. Now, Nancy needs to present the article so we can get started. Now, it's amazing that McConnell is willing to go forward without the articles being presented to him and no agreement with Democrats on witnesses. But the articles need to be presented to the Senate to begin a trial with a rule similar to one adopted for the impeachment of the trial of President Bill Clinton two decades ago. Under the rule, now this is interesting because under this rule, the Senate will move forward and let's see here. I want to make sure this is right. Okay, here we go. So I want to give you something that's fake. Oh boy. Here we have Adam Schiff back in the mix. And he's talking about Bolton's testimony is not off the table for his committee. I mean, give me a break. This dude. Bolton announced Monday that he would be prepared to testify before the Senate if he receives a subpoena, and his statement was silent on whether he would provide testimony to the House. His lawyer did not elaborate when asked. Skiff, who was critical of McConnell and other Republican senators, suggesting that they were more interested in appearance of holding a trial than actually seeking evidence. It's like the pot calling to kill black, isn't it? All they want is to dismiss this matter, make it go away, so the president conduct can be covered up. Well, that's pot calling to kill black, coming from Adam Skiff, who impeached the president on evidence that's so flimsy, it's an embarrassment. And when I hear from folks, they are talking about Trump being impeached as if it's a big deal. Oh, he's impeached, and I'm like, who cares? We know that the charges were trumped up. This will go down as a Democrat attempt to overthrow a legitimately elected president. So then they talk about the popular vote. Oh, he lost the popular vote. It may as well talk to a wall. It's not going to change until it's changed in the Constitution. All I can say is, folks, as long as we have an electoral college, we can take great care. And the electoral vote was put in play for several reasons, both pro and con, but slavery had a lot to do with it. And today you still have that slave thing going on down in south of the Mason-Dixon line, as well as here in Chicago, if you ask me. Because these black folks up here are definitely on the plantation. Because I'm a Democrat. What does that mean? I'm a Democrat. Why are you a Democrat? They can't answer. Why are you a Democrat? They can't answer. So they want to talk about Kennedy. They want to talk about Johnson. And I go, well, what about Obama and Clinton, who had more detrimental policies that affected blacks than any other presidents in recent times? Oh boy. I can tell you this. Unfortunately, given this sinus thing, you kind of run out of juice after a while. And I'm running out of juice. I can't lie. My voice is fading and I'm hanging on, but I'm pushing through. Now, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, I keep hearing that she's going to run for president or she's going to be the vice presidential nominee. I don't know about that. But it seems that Haley, when she opposed Trump, she seemed to wind through the opposition to Donald Trump's president. When Trump won the path and veered to the right, Haley moved with it, adeptly walking the border between a skeptical establishment and an enthusiastic megaverse. But by Monday evening, though, it seemed that Haley's path had even taken her somewhere else. And people keep talking about Haley running in 2024. I wouldn't support her for president, but some people will, I'm sure. But appearing on primetime Fox News, Trump supporter Sean Hannity, Haley dismissed the idea of killing Iranian Quds Force commander as lamented by anyone except for American Democrats. So I understand that we should praise the fact that this guy was killed, no question. Here's Haley on Sean's show. Let's see if we can
You don't see anyone standing up for Iran. You're not hearing any of the Gulf members. You're not hearing China. You're not hearing Russia. The only ones that are mourning the loss of Soleimani are our Democrat leadership and our Democrat presidential candidates. No one else in the world, because they knew that this man had evil veins. They knew what he was capable of, and they saw the destruction and the lives lost based from his hands. You don't.
Wow. Just our Democrat leadership are supporting the fact that we killed Soleimani. Like she said, you're not hearing any of the Gulf members. You're not hearing China. You're not hearing Russia. The only ones who are mourning the loss of Soleimani are our Democrat leadership and our Democrat presidential candidates. No one else in the world. Wow. That's heavy. Now, Nikki was the U.S. representative to the UN, ambassador to the UN. So, she had a firsthand seat as to what was going on in Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Somalia, you name it. She was in the middle of it. So it's also obviously untrue right now that the conservative site Free Beacon was tracked responses from Democrat presidential candidates precisely in an effort to demonstrate how Democrats are expressing skepticism about the strike that killed Soleimani. But even they note that most Democrat candidates largely preface questions about the rationale for and the effects of the attack with descriptions of Soleimani as a threat to the U.S. One can probably find individual Democrats who praise Soleimani, but as one might find any member of any who's embraced any bizarre or uncommon theory. But there's no evidence that Democrat candidates or leaders are mourning Soleimani. So that was a little overstatement on her part, but hey, Democrats do it all the time. What Haley's tapping into here is a swifter current than simply the last week of criticism about the strike of Soleimani. Um, Hannity's rapid and unquestioning embrace of Haley's line was certainly on brand for Hannity, but it also reflected that to Hannity and many other Republicans, Democrats are seen as an unpatriotic or worse, traitorous lot of people. And no, there's no question. It's not a new idea in politics, but it is a newly powerful one, embraced by President Trump himself and by his campaign. So the president is going to come out swinging, and he's going to portray those who don't support the raid as treasonous. And it's going to work because that's what they appear to be. Well, the president's on right now. He says Iran was planning something prior to Soleimani being killed. The Pew Center last year released an assessment of the extent to divide the divide between the parties. One aspect of that research included a look at how partisans viewed their opponents and themselves on a number of metrics. More than 6 in 10 Republicans said Democrats were less patriot than other Americans, while 7 in 10 Republicans say they themselves are more patriotic than others. The majority of Democrats said both they and Republicans were about as patriotic as anyone else. Interesting. Interesting. I think, when we look at this Pew research, we need to look at the data, and it shows an increase in hostility between the two parties, including a 2016 assessment in which they found 45% of Republicans saw Democrat policies as a threat to the U.S., up from 37% 2 years prior. 41% of Democrats said the same about Democrats, and up 10% higher from 2014. Interesting. So Republicans feel that Democrat parties are more threatening to the U.S. than Democrats do. Interesting. It's going to be interesting. And Ms. Haley is back on board with President Trump. She's taking a break now, trying to regroup. I guess get her marriage back together because she's been on the go. Her husband's in the Army. I think he's a major in the Army. He's deploying all the time, so he's back home. Democrats now are falling all over themselves, equivocating about terrorism and writing a resolution to prevent POTUS from responding to Iraq. Not going to happen. The campaign has been slightly more direct in an email to supporter on Sundays, a joint fundraising committee for the campaign and the Republican Party wrote above Trump's name that Somali was a monster responsible for thousands of American deaths. And the world is a better place without him in it. However, the email continued, radical Democrats like Elizabeth Warren, Ilhan Omar, and Bernie Sanders are busy criticizing me for eliminating a dead terrorist. Wow. The conflation here is the same one used by Haley, though with a less direct implication, criticizing the Trump decision to strike Soleimani is necessarily a defense of Somali himself. Wow. Interesting. Interesting, folks. I love it. I love it. Here we go. So we'll pick this up tomorrow. The president is talking about this airstrike, and he said it was a response to Iran's attacks on us. I don't know about that, but they do. I mean, they have the inside scoop, so let them roll with it. We're going to get ready to, I hope I feel a little better. You know, it's been rough on me being here, actually. But, you know, do what you have to do. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. And hope you will tune in. Tell your friends to tune in. I'm going to head out, and I want you to listen to this, see if it perks you up a little bit. It's one of my Get Busy songs.